Hi. Yeah, so I was caught off guard. Welcome. We are at session 12. We trudging right along this time. So, all right, we have a special guest. We have our cousin Bree, and
Hi,
she's gonna,
Brittany.
yeah,
Hey.
she's gonna join us tonight for the discussion that we gonna have today. So, y'all ready?
There.
Of
Yep. Okay.
course.
Okay, so tonight's topic, well, it's not really a topic, but more so of a, I guess, what theme. We're going to talk about women empowerment. I felt like it was kind of important to talk about this. I know I've had some rough times, and we've been stuck in the house, and when you're stuck in the house and you don't have nothing to do, what do? Reflect, meditate, think about whatever. So I just felt like it would be good to do a little empowerment discussion. So who wants to start?
What you mean? Who want to start? Like,
I
how
don't
are we forming this discussion? I know we're gonna talk about women's empowerment, but are we gonna talk about our test and tell our testimony?
Okay, so I was thinking about that. Like, how would we talk about this with it not being all over the place? So, what I thought about was like what empowers me, or I was going to talk about like a specific time when I was going through a really dark time and how I dealt with it and how I moved through it. But I was like, I mean, I don't know if everybody wants to get that deep tonight, because I got some deep stuff to talk about.
Why not?
Well,
I
let's
don't know. Okay,
dive
so
in. Dive in.
Okay, so I'm gonna do mine first then.
Cool.
So
Run it.
let's see. When was a time? Okay, so I'm gonna talk about a time where I really felt defeated and how I just kind of brought myself out of that, which is a really, really hard thing to do. And I'm not gonna say I shouldn't say brought myself out of it because it really took a village. It wasn't just me, it was my sisters, my family, my best friends, and talking to everybody about this. So around the time when we found out that, or we got Carson's diagnosis for autism, during that time was really tough. One, because my marriage was not in the best space. We were going through a really hard time. And then, we got the diagnosis. I'm trying to figure out how to put these puzzle pieces together so that we can function. But I felt very alone. um, excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. Had to get that out. I felt very alone during that time. There was a very big disconnect between me and Lauren. So, talking to him about how I was feeling was just non existent. Um, so, I talked to my sisters, I talked to my closest friends, I talked to my closest family. And, it was embarrassing to talk about, or I felt embarrassed to talk about some of the things that I talked about. Um,
Ooh, let's dive deep in this and the feeling of embarrassment
Yeah.
right.
because like everybody is out here lifing,
Mhm.
right? Like nobody's life is perfect. And I think that that's one reason why it's tough to get through some things is because embarrassment. Like you said, like,
Yes.
I mean, I too have felt alone in so many ways when it came to things that I go through in my life. But that's just life. And but I feel like, and some people don't feel this way, but I feel like if I don't talk to somebody like from a positive standpoint, then it's
Mhm.
tougher for me to get out of it. But many people say like when you're going through stuff, you should keep it to yourself and find some things that help you grow through it. How do you determine when it's a good time to talk to who do you talk to avoid that embarrassment? Like how do you get over it?
Well, for one, keeping it to myself does not work. When I internalize the negative, the stress, all of those bad things, it comes out physically. I get sick. I cry. I'm stressed out. I'm very mean to everybody. Like it's a whole physical kind of thing. So keeping it to myself is not a good thing. It's never been a good thing when it came to any kind of stressful situation. During that time, I was still teeter-tottering about being okay with that because I was still embarrassed. But what kind of helped me get through it was I was scared I was going to have a stroke. And that's how stressed out I was during that time. So it was either have a stroke, have a heart attack, whatever, or talk about it.
So for you, the physical manifestation of the stress was like high blood pressure or something?
I probably had high blood pressure, but I don't know for sure because I wasn't checking it. But not being able to sleep, randomly crying, just being really mean to him because I was angry at him. But even when he wasn't doing so, I was still being mean to him. I was talking crazy to just everybody. Like I was really, really on edge. And it was like if one more thing happened, I was just gonna blow. I was literally a ticking time bomb. Like, and I felt it. You read your body, you know yourself, and you know what makes you tick. And at that point, I was, shifty.
Question. Hold on, question. Does anybody else experience the physical manifestation of stress when you don't deal with it? And what does that look like for you?
I can say I do. Like if I'm really stressed, I just shut down. I too feel sick, but in a way of like really tired. Like I just want to sleep it off. Like the more I sleep, the more I don't have to deal with it, or maybe it'll just go away by the time I wake up. So I more so just kind of shut down I'll just sleep it out. I'll feel like I have a headache and I'm kind of coming down with something, but not in the sense that I'm like, oh, I'm about to die. It doesn't get that far. And I think that just comes from me being so controlling. Like there are some times that I thought like I've woken up and I felt kind of like depressed, but it's something about my controlling mind that can't accept that about myself. Like it's something about the control that I have that is like, girl, no, you are not depressed. Like you can't claim that for yourself. But it's all just due to the fact that my mind is just too I just have to be in control so much that I just can't let myself stay in a dark place like that. But so it does affect everybody.
Because I'm quiet off of that.
Yeah, like I'll get quiet in the house. Like I'll just kind of stay in my own mind, and nothing really is wrong necessarily, but I'm just not as hyper joyous. I'm just a little more quiet, a little more to myself, and just a little more into my thoughts. So it does kind of affect everybody in the house if I'm stressed about something.
So real quick, I want to touch on what you said about being in control, because I think up until that time frame, that's where I was. I'm not depressed. I'm gonna snap out of this. I'm gonna deal with this. But I had no control over everything that was going on. I didn't have control over, Carson not talking. I didn't have control over Lauren doing everything that he was doing. I didn't have control over those things. And because I was already, in a very stressed out mindset, in a depressed mindset, because I was depressed and I just didn't know. Postpartum depression is a very, very sneaky thing. Very. And I honestly feel like that's what it was up until that point. And I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't. I'm going to probably cry on this one because I'm talking about things that were really hard then. I could talk about it now, but I still cry sometimes. But I'm gonna push through this conversation because I feel like
you're only human, so that's normal.
Right. And you have to be you in the be you room.
Cry every episode.
Right.
every episode.
So I like
I'm
the
just saying, Shamin, you know we
isolation.
love you.
Yeah. No, I mean, y'all know this story. So, I'm not too uncomfortable talking about it. It's just, we tell the world,
Mhm.
but yeah, the isolation, not talking to people, and previously when I've been down, I could, recoup very quickly. But for whatever reason, because I was hurt, I was already in a dark space, and I didn't know what to do about my marriage. I didn't know what to do about Carson. So I was unraveling. There was no snap out of it. I have control over this, because I didn't. So, that's my thing. So I know, Shamin, you said you wanted to say something about that. No.
But are you a big adjuster? Like, I can stay down for a few days, but something in me is like, okay, this is the situation. I have to adjust.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
I'm very quick to adjust because I don't like feeling
Yeah.
ick. Like, I don't
I
like
don't
feeling
like
ick.
that
So
either. I don't
very
like that dark
quickly,
spot.
I'll give myself a few days to be a sourpuss, but then
Mhm.
I'm like,
Get a break.
okay, this is what it is, and now adjust. Now, whether I'm saying I adjust for the positive or the negative, it's just an adjustment either way, right? Like meaning, I'll just give an example. Like in the beginning of our marriage, I was way more affectionate than he was, not because of anything other than he just wasn't used to affection. And so it used to irritate me, like, gosh, I touch him way more than he touches me. And instead of being irritated all the time, I ended up adjusting to, okay, I
Mhm.
don't need the affection, and I'll stop being affection. And now, boom, I don't need it no more. And I honestly adjusted. Then though, he started missing it. Like, dang, she don't touch me no more. So then he started kind of being more touchy. But now I've shifted so much. I don't need it. It doesn't affect me. He could touch me if he wants to, but it doesn't excite me anymore. It doesn't give me any type of gratification. And then he eventually brought it up, like, geez, you're not very affectionate anymore. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I adjusted. I'm cool. I don't, I'm good now. And it bothers him. It bothered him. Like, why can you just adjust so easily? And I'm like, I don't know. I just train my brain or train myself that instead of it affecting me, I adjust to me not needing it or wanting it. And now I'm fine. And still to
Mhm.
this day, I haven't quite flipped back in it. It's like, now I'm a little more affectionate, but I have to be conscious. It's not very natural anymore. Now I have to say to myself, like, oh, this is a good time to touch him. Like, he might need a touch right now. It's not as genuine or authentic as it used to be because I switched it and never switched it back on.
So it's funny that you talk about adjusting in that particular example. So during that time, I did, well, yes, I adjust. To answer your question, I adjust. And when I flip that switch, it is very hard to turn it back on. And that is actually something that I'm still dealing with now.
Mhm.
So that example of not being affectionate, now I've never, ever, ever been a touchy feely person. But with him, when we first got together, we were connected. We touched all the time, but when all of that was going on, that was one of the things that I adjusted. I shut it down. Don't touch me. Don't talk to me. I need to figure out what's going on. Just leave me alone if you are not going to be 100% there. I do a very good job of distancing myself from whatever is going on around me. I'll go to the room. Y'all know how I do. I separate. Go to the room. And y'all
Separate.
won't hear from me.
Well, and that is really a coping mechanism. That is a way of coping. It's a way of protecting yourself. It's a way of coping with what's going on. It's a way of protecting yourself from being hurt. You feel like you're in danger, and your body, your mind is like, okay, I got to shut it down because something is getting ready to hurt me. And
Now
Yeah.
I know we
and
talking about
huh?
I know we're talking about coping mechanisms, but I want to go back to the physical manifestation of stress and
Mhm.
talk about Shamin. Because I don't think Shamin really recognized, to me, like, this is just from the outside looking in. like the physical manifestation of stress in her life. I feel like a few years ago when you moved to North Carolina and you were like healthy, Shameen, like you ain't have any type of issues or nothing, but then your life changed traumatically
Yep.
when you moved to North Carolina, and then all of a sudden you started having all this eye issues, sinus
Mhm.
issue. Your
Yeah.
eye was watering all the time, and then
Dark.
it went
Your
from
eyes dark.
that to your
Mhm.
hip. And I feel like
Was aging a little bit. So this is the thing though. So stress for me, it didn't used to manifest in my body. I think I was able to handle it better, differently. When I was stressed, especially when I was younger, I would work. I would throw myself into work,
Mhm.
and I would be all right. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? I
Yep.
don't think that. Um,
Well, you
I
didn't have that luxury when you moved to North Carolina. That's why your
I
life had changed
did
dramatically when you
did
went there. Your
did
normal coping
things
mechanisms were gone. Like you just had a regular 8 to 5, and then you were like,
right.
what now? Like you were
Right.
used to working like 80 hours a week.
I
Mhm.
was
Yep.
when I wasn't. When I didn't have that, and I was doing something totally different, and I was working with my family. And I had blood family around me, so it was easier. But when I moved to Charlotte, and when I moved to Charlotte, don't get me wrong, it was an exciting time of my life, but it was a very, very different time in my life because I didn't have blood family around me, and that was the first time in my life that I didn't. Um, so while you all were like a phone call away or a drive away, you still weren't near me. So for me to have to, deal with that, and also being a wife, a mom supporting, a family, that was way more challenging for me than what I anticipated.
It was
So
just so
It was
different.
a lot.
so different. It was
And
so
your
different.
body was like, stop, bitch, stop. Like, what are we
Mhm.
doing?
It
Like,
was my
and
body
you was
was
trying to hold it together, but your face
screaming.
was
I
like, no,
was.
bitch, you're gonna cry. You're
Right.
gonna
Yeah.
cry right now. And you're like,
Hmm.
but wait a minute, that just tear
Right.
you just come on down. But I felt like it was
Yep.
a physical manifestation of
It
your stress.
was. It was a physical manifestation of stress. And for those who don't know me, I mean, it went from, now I never was sick. Never. I never been, like, not even a hospital stay. I barely had the sniffles. I went from that to I had a real bad sinus infection that would not go away. Had to have surgery. Surgery for the very first time. Then I had an eye infection. My tear ducts were blocked. Who has that shit? My tear my tear ducts were blocked. So I had to have surgery for that. They couldn't unblock them. They were sticking needles in my tear blocks, trying to push saline down to unblock them. Couldn't do it. And I wasn't even gonna have the surgery. I was gonna walk around with watery eyes, but I kept getting an infection in this one eye, and the infection was so bad, it looked like somebody punched me in the face, and it was so painful. So I had to have surgery for that. So yeah, so for a while it was it was bad. So now though, I have learned to deal with stress differently, way different, so that it is not turned inward. And it was hard even for me to understand that that was going on with me because, like I said, if I worked good enough or hard enough, I was fine. You know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
wasn't bad. It wasn't taken out on my body, but it was challenging. So even
Technically, too, like you know, in moments when I felt stressed, and Jerice, when I hear it, in moments when you felt stressed, Nisha too, and Shameen, like, we were at a place in our lives. I ain't really talk specifically about mine because I do be having stress. Let me talk about that really quick. The physical manifestation of stress in my life comes through in my blood pressure. Like, normally, like young D, my blood pressure is like 90/60, like really, really low. But now, baby, let a little bit of stress come into my life, and it's like ridiculous. And I know I've created a list of what'll help me bring that stuff down. And I know that it's straight off stress, not my diet. I eat pretty well, but that's the physical manifestations of stress in my life. But I mean, what was I gonna say? Don't lose it, catch it, reel it back in.
It's gone.
Um,
Lost it.
Oh, I know what it is. Okay.
Okay.
Technically, like, we don't really have nothing to complain about. That's what be
Right.
killing me. Like, you know, when I was younger, I would play the at least game. You know, at least I'm healthy. At least blah blah blah. Like, all of us, no matter what we're going through in these high stress situations, like, what are we complaining about? Like, these are first world issues. Like, it's people out here starving. Why am I going through this? Like,
and I don't want to sound like the selfish cousin out of the group, but I was born with me or you. So it's gonna be you before it's me. Okay? So if it's a particular person that's stressing, baby, you got about one day before I don't let me sleep on how I'm about to reverse your ass.
Right. Well, see, that's what ended up happening.
And it ain't gonna be me no more.
What was going on? It was either me or this, because I talked about this. I prayed about it, and because I'm extremely spiritual, but I prayed about it. I asked God what I needed to do to move forward, and what kept popping in my mind was eliminate the things that you can control. So, what was the first thing that was finna go? Lauren. Yes. Hey, the BU, we gonna talk about this. This is part of why this was created, because I want to talk about this, because I know I'm not the only one that's gone through these things, and we need to normalize this kind of conversation so we cope better as women. But that he was the first. But what happened was I was like, I love him, I don't want to leave, but something's got to give. So I started preparing to leave. But in the midst of all of this, I'm still praying, like, okay, Lord, give me a better husband, give me a better companion, somebody who will support me, work with. Like, I'm being very specific in my prayers. But I didn't want to leave, but I'm moving forward. I had created a whole nother bank account without him on it. I was putting money in that account. I was moving. Me and these kids was gone. And what happened? He got COVID. And it wasn't like COVID, stay at home COVID. No. It was like in the hospital for a week COVID.
It was like God was like, "Are you sure?
Right. Let me just let you sit still on this. Right. If you don't want him, we can take him. Because he was on his deathbed twice. And I talked about this in my first sidebar in detail. But, when you pray for things and you be still and you listen, that's right, and you move the way that you are supposed to move, God will show you. Whoever you worship will show you.
Right. God, Jesus, Allah, the universe.
Yes. Everything. Right. Right. And that's what happened. He got sick, and God knows me. And he knows that one thing that will stop me dead in my tracks is I'm not going to leave nobody when they down like that. He was in the hospital. I got my mask on, my gloves. I am suited up, leaning over him, telling him, I love you, and I'm here to take care of you, but I'm still mad at you. I'm still mad at you, but I'm going to take care of you. You're going to be all right. I'm going to get you through. He gets out of the hospital, and he ended up having a pulmonary embolism within 2 weeks. And so, that's telling me that, okay, all right, I'm going to slow all of this down. And thankfully I listened and I did slow down. We're in a much better space than where we were. He's more supportive. He helps out more with the kids. He is truly a new husband in a sense.
But how were you empowered as a woman? Like, that's what I need to know. Yeah, he got sick. Yeah, God showed
I'm
you.
gonna back that up, because what happened was before he got sick, I got to a point, I don't know, I just woke up one day and because of course I had been praying like, Lord, I need to understand how I can move through this, because I can't live like this. I cannot exist like this. This is not how my life is supposed to go, and I know this. So, oddly enough, I started working out. I know that when I work out, I
go
can
for
release
revenge body.
yeah, all of that. But it helps get that negative out. So, I started imagining as I worked out, I'm releasing that negative. When I get in the shower, I am washing that negative off. Like those kind of little things, changing my mindset is what slowly started to pull me out of it. And then you pray for confirmation, you pray for guidance, you do all this stuff, and stuff just started falling right on in line the way I needed it to. No, I didn't want him to get sick, but it helped me understand that maybe it wasn't time for me to let go right then and there. And
and just think of it like this: sometimes when you pray for something and you think it's coming for you, but maybe he didn't get sick for you, maybe he got sick for himself.
exactly,
like
right.
you said, he came as a new man. After you died twice, you might want to be a different person than when you lived your first life.
He came home brand new. Now that first time,
like what you was thinking was for you was probably actually for him.
Right. Because one of the things that I prayed for, and one of the things I've learned is in a marriage, you have to work on yourself individually. And then you work on yourself together.
Yep.
And that's what we needed to do. I had to, and that's what one of the things I needed to get through that dark space, that depression, that oh, I hate the way I look, I don't like myself. Because when you feel like that, you start to project those things on everybody else. Yep. How can I ask my husband to love me more than I love myself?
That what you said right there is powerful, and it's very true. And a lot of women do that. Can't stand the way that they look,
right?
But then want to look to their husband and expect them to give them that validation. You can't do that,
right? You cannot expect anybody to love you, to support you, to grow you, to flower your own flower better than yourself. And
as soon as I figure out how to flower my own flower,
girl.
Okay.
Pour it on me. But you flower your own flower, you help yourself grow.
That's right. You have to do that work. Bree, what you gonna say?
I'm sorry, Bree, baby.
No, you good. I think when it comes to me with women empowerment, like recently I've been learning being surrounded by strong Black cousins, mamas, family members. I've been learning that you all sometimes, like, because you all look so strong, I've been learning how it's okay to, like, kind of stop yourself sometimes, because it's like, I feel like being in your 20s, like, you forget sometimes, like, oh, plus y'all make it look so easy sometimes. So it's like, dang, like when I make mistakes and things like that, it's like remembering like the not huge but minimal age difference, and remembering like,
I like how you said that.
She tried. It was nice.
Right.
Remembering that like you all have like gone through things, and remembering that it is okay. And I think like recently I've been trying to, with women empowerment, like a lot of times like I get so frustrated, and like that physical, like you mentioned, of it comes out in ways, and it's like not blaming yourself as much, because it's like because y'all make it look easy. It's like, dang, like, is it me?
What
Like,
you have to
You have
understand
to
though
give
is the
yourself grace.
generational times. So like the things that you're going through is because of the times that it is, and everybody knows what everybody's going through because of social media.
Mhm.
We
Or
have
it,
been
but
there,
it
done
don't
that,
look
and done
like people
everything
don't
that you're
look like
doing.
what they going through because of
That
social
too.
media.
But that too. But we've done probably more than, better than y'all could ever, and y'all will never know. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's the difference. Y'all put everything out there that everybody knows stuff. We didn't have that, so that y'all have no idea the things that we went through when, you know, we were 20 or whatever. We was places we should. I literally was just telling my mom this not too long ago when I said, I can't believe I'm still alive. I done got in cars. I done did all kind of stuff that I probably had no business getting into.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in places I probably had no business being in that place without anybody knowing. I could have been kidnapped or whatever a long time ago, but I wasn't. But because I think they were talking about you and how you wanted to, venture off to be 20. And I said, this is the time that she's supposed to be doing these things. This is the time that she goes and experiences going out of town. I said, y'all treating her like a baby. She's in her mid-20s, not the young. You in your mids. You really getting closer to the 30 side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is the time that she's supposed to go off with some knucklehead boy and do stupid stuff, get her heart broke, and do all that stuff. So that when she is ready, when she is 30, that's when you're going to have all your lessons and you're going to know how to handle them.
I went through one of the biggest heartbreaks of my life at 22. And if social media was around then, people would have probably thought I was crazy.
That would be coming up as a memory now.
What you saying?
Like 20 years ago.
Right.
20 years ago.
Share that memory.
2 decades ago. But I think too, like being in my 20s, if I would have looked on social media and like Bree said, like you see all these people like living their life, and then here I am with this big, ridiculous heartbreak, I would think it was me too. Because everybody had these fake lives out there.
Right. And social media plays such a role nowadays in just the BS of it all.
Even like when you were saying not liking your body.
The BS be up
Even
here.
not liking your body. That comes from social media because you're comparing yourself to everybody else.
That's
you
and
half the people in the world look just like you.
Because and you put stuff out there that just it's not the truth.
Well, hold on. No, this is my thing. Because I put stuff out there like about my family, how I'm happy, like most of the time and stuff.
Right.
And so other people will think that I don't go through stuff because I don't put that on there. Not that I don't, and not that that's a fake part of me. It's just that like I only put out there what I feel comfortable sharing. Like I'm not gonna share my struggles like that.
Right.
But I think when we don't put the struggles out there too, and we only put our successes, then in people's minds, people think that other people's lives are perfect, and they're not. And I think I'm sitting on this side of it because I share a lot about my life on social media, from like the things that me and my husband do, we travel with my kids and stuff like that. Like people be thinking that I got it all together, and I don't. Like my life ain't nowhere near perfect. I mean, it's perfectly imperfect because it's the way it's supposed to be. But other people probably would look at my stuff and be like, if they saw the whole picture and be like, I don't know.
See, that's the thing. But even without social media, though, people don't always share.
True.
Everything.
That's why you gotta get a good strong circle.
I think one of the bigger takeaways too is, one, you have to give yourself grace. And two,
definitely,
when people be talking shit and they be like, oh, well, what's for me is for me, you are absolutely right. What is for you is for you. And that doesn't mean it is going to look like everybody else's stuff.
Right.
And you need to be okay with that. Yes. I don't care what we talk about. I don't care what pictures I see. I'm happy you are happy. My life is what it is, though, and I'm okay with it.
With that, right?
And I
Yeah.
think that's where the problem is coming in. It's not about what you post, what you don't post, what you talk about. It's about being okay with where you are in that
Right.
point in time.
Because it is your journey.
Right.
Right.
It is about what is for you. Okay,
Exactly.
because this, that, and the third, that's them. But you don't know what it costs them to be there.
hmm And you don't need to know.
Right.
Leave
Because
it alone.
it's not for you. Right. Because it's not for you.
Right.
That's
Right.
And a lot of people don't. I think that is.
And my thing is if you don't know, you're not close enough that it even matters.
That it
Like I said,
matters. Right.
like my
Exactly.
people I know, and I know how they got it, or where they got it, or whatever, and it's all cool, and we have an understanding. But
Right.
if we not even that close, I just don't care.
Right. But I think, when people have a certain thought about people, like it's like, oh, I don't like her, but I'm gonna scroll through and see what she got going on. Or, when you are not focused on yourself and what you are supposed to be focused on doing, your path, your passion, your faith, your whatever it is to build yourself up. That's really what you should be focused on. I don't care if you think I'm ugly. I don't care if you think I shouldn't be married to him. I don't care what the hell you
Who
think.
said that? So I
Because
can be.
This is my thing.
I'm using this as an
This my
example.
thing.
Nobody
This
said
my
nothing to me.
thing.
And if
Why-
they did, no, I'm playing.
What?
Why can't we flip it? Why can't we flip it in a positive spin? Like
Right.
when you do see other people living a life that you may think is positive or good or whatever, it's not a like, why not me? It's like, well, if they could do it, then I know I could do it too. And let me figure
Exactly.
out,
And that's what I was trying to say. It is about perception.
Yeah.
Mhm.
About your perception. It's like, it's okay, you shining, I'm good. If I see what I love to see you all shining and doing the things that you all want to, and being what it is that you all want to be in life. I love to see you all do that. It makes me happy that you all are doing what you want to do and
But
being
that's
what
because
you
we
all
are in the circle.
Mhm.
When you truly have your circle, which by the way, having your circle is very important. Like having your community is what's very important. And that's how your community should be. Building each other up, helping each other, being truly happy for one another. Because this is how I always look at it, right? Like if I was rich, why would I want broke friends, right? Meaning the sense of like, why would I hate somebody else trying to get rich? Like, I want all of us to be on the same level,
Right.
because I don't want to be the one paying every time we go to the restaurant, and I don't want to go to the restaurant by myself because you can't afford it, right? So it's like I want all of us to be on the same level. So if I need to help you get on the same level that I am, or whatever the case may be, that's what I would want to do, so that I will have my community doing what I want to do, traveling or whatever it is. Not hating on the next to bring them down to where you be by yourself.
Right. There's enough for everybody to be successful in whatever role they're doing or whatever it is. And you don't have to tear somebody else down. And it's not, I ain't even going to say it's about being positive, but it's about knowing what the larger goal is, which is to have that village, to have that space, to have that kind of support.
Non-judgmental. Like I can tell y'all stuff and be like, and y'all don't be like, you stupid. Like I can tell y'all stuff and y'all come from a place of positivity or with the rah-rah, depending on what I need at that moment. And then we grow through it together. Yes. And then we grow through it together. It's not, like I've had friends before, like, oh, you stupid. Oh, they stupid. Like that's not a friend. A friend will be like, I hear you, let me listen to you, and then I'm going to support you in whatever your decision is. And many people don't understand, like, I may not like some of the things that none of y'all's husbands do, or your boyfriend or whoever you with, but you grown enough to know that that's your choice, that's your lesson, and as a sister, cousin, friend, somebody who loves you from a place of love, I know I can control him. I can't control you. I can only hold your hand through it, listen, and then support whatever it is you decide to do. That
Right.
and to me, like that's why I have
Validate
y'all
your
in my
feelings
circle
if you
'cause I
feeling some
know,
type of way.
huh?
I said, invalidate your feelings if you feeling some type of way.
Yeah,
Say, you
yeah.
have the right to feel that way.
You have the right to feel
Mhm.
that way. Thank you. I feel
But
heard.
I don't think it's
feel
necessary
heard and
about being a
supported,
yes man
but I also
either. It's
don't
just
want to
about
feel
that
embarrassed,
support.
like Jeree
Right.
said, or stupid, or nothing like that for choosing to grow through whatever lessons I'm growing
Right.
through. And I want to make sure that the people who I have in my circle are my safe space. And to me,
Mm-hmm.
that's women
Mm-hmm.
empowerment is when we
Mm-hmm.
all come together. And I'm not trying to control you. And I'm not trying to
Mm-hmm.
judge you as my friend or my sister. I just want you to be happy.
Right.
And Dries,
And
you're
making
right.
sure
Like
you see the
being a yes
other.
man is not a friend either. So like I heard you say that, and
You
yes,
said
that's
what?
not a friend either. Being a yes, she said I also don't want a yes man, and I
Oh
said,
Right.
well, being a yes
no.
man is not
Right.
being a friend
No.
either,
Right.
because
Call
you
me out.
still have a responsibility to
Bullshit
hold
now.
people
Right.
accountable
Right.
for
And
even
I'm
what they're doing.
you, and we're talking about it because I need another perspective. I
Mhm.
need to
Mhm.
know if there's some bullshit I'm saying.
Or
Versus,
rah me first and then correct me.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Support the
I need
bullshit
to
and
know.
then correct it. I mean, we
Know
all
what
know
Which
that's
we
one
do
person.
that all the time, because you
Yes.
know I like to come in as the rah person
And we be
first.
with it.
I
What?
be like, look,
Wait,
and then
And
they
you
come
like,
back
hold
like, no, I'm
on.
just kidding, but for real,
What?
like for real,
Right.
you know.
Right, right. But that's
But
all a
like
part
I said,
of
back
growing
and
through it.
talk about it, like from the perspective of, okay, well, you had a decision to make. What you gonna do now? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're not in danger, well, okay, well, we'll roll with however it's gonna go.
Right,
But if you're in danger, then we got to tell you you are in danger. So
right.
What's the movie? You in danger, boo, or
Right.
baby? What she say in the movie?
right,
What was that? Ghost? She was like,
so
danger,
mhm.
baby.
So, right. And if we are coming to you and it's like, listen, you in danger, we got to make some moves. Well, then you better listen, because we're not telling you no bullshit.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
telling you that because you in danger. So
I mean, I understand like what Jerice was saying about like being a yes man, because I used to be a yes man. And I feel like it wasn't from a standpoint of, because I feel like with some women in my life, it's like I'm not trying to, it's like I'm very smart. I understand everything that you have like instilled in me, whatever, but I think sometimes it's the challenge of they think they know everything, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
they have all the answers, that it's like you're not fully heard, or it's like everybody else is
So are
wrong.
you being a yes man, or are you being sarcastic? Like, and being
Being
like,
a guy, because it's like I feel like
okay,
it, like kind of like how Jerice was saying, like the whole, what was it, the when you physically, because you like when you get depressed or you don't say
Mm-hmm.
want to say how you feel, because it's like if you feel like you're not going to be heard, or if you feel like it's like if you already got the answer and you already are, then so I feel like that can be a challenge sometimes, because it's like when you have women and it's like
Ooh,
okay,
they be tough, girl. Them women be
it's like
strong on you. They be
Mm-hmm.
strong on you.
wisdom.
Right.
I do want to obtain that wisdom, and I do want to respect you and things like that, but then it's also like
It's your path.
also you like I'm a person of like I'm not stupid, I'm smart, and I know how to go out into the world, make sound decisions and things like that. So it's also like being respectful but also being heard, and also not just, it's a challenge
Well,
sometimes.
and
here's
even
the
if they
thing,
ain't
Bree.
sound decisions, hopefully you learn a lesson from it.
Well, here's the
So
thing, because I think as respectful children, it's hard to know when it's time to move in your own space. And I'm saying that because I'm 40 and I'm learning that now, even with mommy,
Tough.
it's hard to say, okay, mommy, I have absorbed everything you have taught me. I understand it. I live it. I am it. But it's time for me to let my light shine and move in the space that I need to move into. And I'm not leaving you. I'm not dropping anything that you have taught me, because it's in me, it's in my blood. But I can't be the kid anymore. It's very
Yeah.
hard.
Look, most of the decisions that I made after I graduated from high school were against the decisions of my parents. Like, let's just be real. My mom, I said I wanted to go to FAMU. My mom was like, "That's a long way away," but okay. And then she like life will show you where you need to be more
Right.
than a parent trying to keep you here.
And that
FAMU
inner
was a long way
conflict.
away, and it
It
took
was
one
like
semester for me to figure out that was not the place for me. So I came back, and I came back for a year and a half, and then I was like, all right, I'm done with being here. I'm trying to go to Louisville, and mommy was like, you on your own, then you got to figure it out on your own. And that's what I did. I had to figure it out on my own, but she didn't want me to go there. She like
Mhm.
most of the decisions that I made, my parents were like, no, but you just on your own. Then that's what I loved about them, and I still do, is they be like, I don't think that's a good idea. And so Jerice will stop at that. When they say I don't think that's a good idea, most times Jerice be like,
I would.
okay, it's not a
Okay.
good idea. I'm just gonna
That's
do
because she
it.
the
Me,
baby.
I be
Cause
like,
her the
well,
baby.
I'm just gonna
Mhm.
figure it out. Now, a
Mhm.
lot of times I ended up circling right on back around where they told me was the best place for me to be, but it was my lesson to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
And the
Mhm.
thing about that too is they still were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And they'll
Yeah.
say, all right, go ahead, bump your little dumbass head. You be like, whatever, I'm about to go do this. And then you come
But it's
and when
okay to step away.
but they're still right there and they're telling you things out of experience, out of
Mm.
love. They don't want to see you bump your head. But at the same time, these are lessons and you're going to learn them one or two ways. You either going to listen to what it is they say and just not do it, or you're going to be a knucklehead and you're going to go out there and do the shit and come back and be like, all right, you was right about that. I should just really listen to you and
Yeah.
save heartache, but
And I always say that too, Shameen. Like I always say that there's like two ways sometimes you can learn a lesson. One, by experiencing it yourself, and two, by watching somebody else
Learning
go
by
through it.
process.
And then you
Mhm.
yeah.
like, I'm not doing that. No
Which
ma'am, no
most of the
no
time,
sir,
that's why I
no thank
stopped,
you.
because
Because
I
there's a
saw what
lot of
Shamina Dia was doing.
Yeah,
there has been a
yeah,
lot of
because she had
situations
two.
that I have seen
Right.
other people go
Wait,
through
listen to
that I
mommy and daddy.
say,
It was the two of us.
not for me.
Really has
Hmm.
done it. And she,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Now, I
yeah.
will say there were certain things. I think the inner conflict is you know that's what you need to do in order to grow and move forward. That's what you need to do. If
Yeah.
I would have stopped every single time
Yeah,
mommy and
you'll stop
daddy
everything.
told me not to, I never would have bought my first brand new car at 19. I
Mm-hmm.
never would have bought my first house at
Mm-hmm.
24. So,
Mm-hmm.
I never would have moved to North Carolina. Mommy
Mm-hmm.
was mad. She was
Mm-hmm.
mad at me that I was moving, but I felt like I needed to go. I was stuck. I was in a really bad mental space during that time too. It was something I needed to do. And as much as I knew she didn't want me to go, I had to, and I did. And I was
That's
better for it.
empowering too. Like, I can
That
do
is.
this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know I
Mm-hmm.
can do this.
Right.
I believe in
Mm-hmm.
myself, and it's good for parents to still have that cushion there for you, just in
Right.
case stuff don't work out. But like, it builds a stronger woman to be
Mm-hmm.
able to go out there and
Yep.
strike out on your own.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And it may be super duper stressful, right, Shameen?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Moving to North Carolina with nobody you didn't know or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but you feel, to me, I feel like that just really put some muscles on you too.
It did.
mhm.
I
It
mean,
did.
I'm even going through that as a mother of a teenager, right? Like of a
Oh, yeah.
17-year-old. Like there are certain lessons that I'm even learning myself on kind of letting go, right?
Mhm.
Like I even myself have to realize he's at the age now where he's going to have to start learning lessons and making decisions for himself. I can guide him or I can give him my opinion or whatever the case it may be, but I have to kind of start already, even though he's still underage, kind of letting him find his way. And it's hard. Like
Yeah.
I remember his first year of high school, y'all, and he was playing football, so it was still, they was practicing over the summer. And they didn't have any buses or anything, so I had to drive him to school. And y'all, when I tell you the students, the football players was driving themselves even that was a culture shock to me. Like here I am driving he was like 15 going to ninth grade, but here I go driving him because he, underage can't drive, and here go these grown looking men getting out of their own cars for football practice, and I'm like, I literally start having a panic attack. I called my dad like, oh my God, the students is driving. Like I didn't go to high school and drive to high school, but I'm like, the students is driving. I said, Daddy, the boys are driving. Like that gave me anxiety, but then I just had to relax and be like, this is where I'm headed. This is where I'm headed as a parent, and I have to kind of start letting him go now. And now with this Uber, now he just catch a thing on Uber and be everywhere. And I'm like, just leave your location on, okay? I'm checking it. I ain't gonna lie, but you got to start kind of letting them get their own little wings. It's hard though. It's hard, but that's just a part of life. I learned this in a class that I took about, I won't say about parenting, but it said your job is not to raise good children. Your job is to raise law-abiding, decent adults. So, with that being said, I'm like, okay, he's getting to the age where he's almost an adult. So as long as he can conduct himself as a decent adult, I've done my job. And that's what I have to be confident in.
But that inner panic is so good, because on the inside I'll be like, oh my God, this is not gonna work. But you're right, it's really hard to let go, because we in the same boat on that. We are in the same boat. It's hard, but I mean, you let them. You have to, and but the best way you can, I guess you have to, but it is hard. So we are coming up on almost an hour.
Yes. Good job, y'all. This was good discussion.
Very good.
This was our longest discussion.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll talk about it, but if y'all want to continue this next week, we probably will. I think this is a good one to continue. So I'm going to close this out. Thank you guys for watching. Go to our YouTube channel to subscribe and watch previous episode or sessions. See, I'm getting tired. Then we have our Facebook page, and we also have our Instagram, and we're gonna start getting our social media up and running functionally soon. We will want to have other guests later on. So if
thanks for joining us, Bree.
Thank you, Bree.
Yeah, thank you, Bree. We appreciate it. So if you want to join, leave a comment on Instagram, Facebook, or even on the YouTube channel, and we will, see when we can get y'all in. But other than that, thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a good night. Bye.